In this video, we're going to cover some basic concepts such as displacement, velocity, acceleration, projectile motion, Newton's 3 laws, forces, momentum, and things like that. So for those of you who want a basic intro into physics and just want to understand some principal ideas involving physics, this video is for you. So let's begin. The first thing we're going to talk about is distance and displacement. Now, many of you out there are very familiar with the word distance. When you think of distance, when you hear the word distance, what do you think of? I think of how far something has traveled. So let's say the distance between one city to another could be 100 miles. And so is the difference between 2 points. Now, displacement is very similar to distance, but displacement encompasses direction as well. Direction is important for displacement. So let me give an example that distinguishes distance and displacement. So let's say if you have a person, let's say John, and he's at this position right here, and he decides to walk, let's say 8 meters east, and then he turns in the other direction and travels, let's say 3 meters west. The total distance that John travels is 8 plus 3 or 11 meters. However, his displacement is not 11, but rather his displacement is 5 meters. Displacement is the difference between the final position and the initial position. So let's say if we have a number line, and let's say this is position 0, so John traveled 8 meters east. So now he's at position 8 on a number line. So during the first part of his trip, his displacement was positive 8, then he traveled 3 meters west. So his displacement is negative 3. So now he's at position 5, and so his net displacement is 5 meters because he started from position A and now he's at position B, which is located at position 5, and so your net displacement is basically it's the final position, let's say, minus the initial position. His final position is position 5. His initial position is 0. So his displacement is positive 5. He went from A to B, and so that's the basic idea behind displacement. The total distance is 11. Now, distance is a scalar quantity. It only has magnitude. Displacement is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude and direction. In the case of distance, in the first part of the trip he traveled a distance of positive 8. In the second part he traveled a distance of positive 3, and so the total distance is 11 meters. Now, displacement has a magnitude and direction. During the first part of his trip, his displacement was positive 8. The magnitude is how far he traveled, which is 8 meters. The direction is he's traveling east, and so we have a positive sign for going in an eastward direction. Anytime you go towards the right, you're going in the positive x direction, so the displacement is positive. Now, during the second part of the trip, he's traveling west, that is towards the negative x direction, and so it's negative 3 in terms of displacement, but in terms of distance it's positive 3. Keep this in mind. Distance is always positive, but displacement can be positive or negative if you're traveling east or north. Displacement has a positive value if you're traveling west or south. Displacement has a negative value, and so if you add up the displacement for the first part of the trip plus the displacement of the second part, you get the net displacement of positive 5.